Hey y'all, welcome back to Trendy DIY 29, back with another video. As you guys may know, we've been dealing with some really hot days, and believe it or not, like I've said in previous videos, tomatoes really do not like a lot of heat. And then we've had, days of like extreme heat, and then we've had days of lots of rain, and that can cause your tomatoes and lots of other vegetables to begin to crack or even to begin to go to seed. So my garden is going through it. This is around the time that if anybody is gardening, this is when you're going to see the most destruction of your garden. This is when your garden is not going to be as beautiful as it was in the spring. But just remember that all of this is normal because of the heat. Stuff dies down, but just remember, when you see something looking like it's succumbing to the heat or succumbing to illness, we still have time in this season to plant something else. So that's what I wanted to go over today, and I wanted to do a harvest that I'm hoping is big enough for this basket that I got. So let's see what's growing. As you guys remember, this basil was really tiny. Or you guys remember that. That's the one I just allowed them to attack. So the basil is really tiny, but if you look really close, the basil is going to seed. And this is a flower bulb, so if you see this flowery thing on top of your basil, it means it's going to seed. And if you can catch it early enough, you can just cut that flower off, or just cut the whole top off like I'm doing. And I'll pick that up later. You can actually save your plant if you can catch it early enough, because once a plant goes to flower, it changes its taste. So what I'm going to do, sorry about that, what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to harvest a lot of this basil. I'm going to dry some out. Basil is really good for cooking, but it's also really good for your skin. You could put it into your smoothies. You can use it for garnish. So I'm just going to take like a nice portion of this plant, and I'm going to harvest this into the basket. And guys, look at my Sumter cucumber. Remember it? It's having a problem with me training it up. It's not trying to go, but I'll show you guys. I have a little circular cucumber, and these are the regular slicing cucumbers. And I have a massive cucumber down here. Like, the pickling ones are huge. You can see a lot of the heat, and thyme does not like a lot of wetness, so we've had a lot of rain and then extreme heat. So a lot of my thyme has died, but if you look closely, you can see some of it is trying to grow back. And the rosemary is just like I said, it's one of those plants that is really hard to kill. My one mint plant succumbed to the heat. It was just too much, no matter how much I watered it. And this was my peppermint, but I had 2 peppermints, so I'm not that worried. This, as you guys can see, this is the chamomile. It's doing bad. The heat has really gotten it. So I'm going to take this in, and I'm going to probably harvest all of these little buds later, because I can't do this on camera because they're very fragile. So I need 2 hands for that. But I'm going to take a lot of this in later, and I'll make a video and show you guys how I go with drying out the different herbs in my garden, as well as how I'm going to dry out this chamomile. As you can see, that's missing almost all the petals. These have some petals, but you want to harvest your chamomile when the petals are flat, not when they're pushing down like that. So I'm probably going to come out here and harvest the majority of this once I'm done. And then I'll make a video showing you guys how I'm going to dry it. Down here, like I said, my Swiss chard. I'm about to just plant some more Swiss chard seeds because they can't really grow. They're just too crowded. They should be massive by now. So I need to stop wasting my time and start something else. The green bean, if anybody has garden beans, they know anything about them, let me know what's going on, because this has been planted for a while now. And as you can see, there's one green bean. And I can lift up these leaves. I see little pods and stuff, like if you look closely, but I only see that one green bean. So I don't know what's going on. Maybe pests are eating them, but I feel like why would they leave one green bean and not just eat all of them? So I'm not sure, but on this side I see a flower and some more like bean pods. So I'm hoping that I'll have more green beans, but so far green beans are very slow. And I'm about to make dinner, so I'm gonna harvest some food for tonight. And as you can see, they've gotten in this. I just plucked a lot of the caterpillars off. But I'm not going to lie, I let my garden go for like 3 days. I really wasn't outside. I really wasn't checking it like I should have. And this is what can happen in 3 days. You see my head of cabbage is formed. I have a second head of cabbage. Not that bad. Some greens. You know, I'll probably cut some of these for dinner. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that now. A leaf. I'm trying to get the ones that aren't that bad. You really want to cut. Oop, I dropped some. You really want to cut your plants. Excuse me. You really want to cut your plants from the bottom and try not to cut anything from like that center part. So I'm going around the sides. Even if they're damaged a little bit, depending on how damaged they are. And I just like to, you guys can see, I'm just going in and I'm just cutting around it. And you guys can see I got some kale. I'm making a pork loin roast tonight, roasted. And I'm going to make some greens and probably some mac and cheese to go with it. And I might dice up my one squash that I have and throw that in there. And as you guys can see, all these like real chewed up ones, I'm going to come back. And I'm going to cut all those out, and I'm going to throw those away. Because they may, as you can tell, they're too done to really want to save. I don't want to eat something that looks like Swiss cheese. So I'm just trying to cut the ones, like these ones, for instance, that's very little damage. And then, of course, when I get it into the house, I'm going to go back over it. I'm going in the back. I'm going to get this one back leaf. And I like to mix my my greens. So that was some collards. And now I'm going to go over here and I'm going to get some of this red Russian. You guys can see my red Russian is not that bad. I just cut a lot of it. It's so hard to film, guys, and do this. I was going to ask my boyfriend, but he was asleep, so I didn't want to wake him up. But I got some red Russian. I'm going to get some more, because you know kales and stuff, they cook down a lot. So I'm just going to cut a lot of it out, because a lot of this is damaged. So I'm just going to cut a lot of this plant out and see what I can salvage and what I can't salvage and go from there. But you guys can see, like, this one is like not salvageable. I'm gonna throw that away. But this one is not that bad, so I'm gonna keep that. And this one's a little chewed up too, so I'm gonna toss both of these. Because just remember, the more you cut, the more it'll grow. If you just leave your garden and don't harvest from it, it's not a good, it's not really good for your plants, because they're not going to try to produce. So I'm trying to keep everything in its own little thing. So far, guys, this is what we have. We have some collards, some red Russian kale, a little bit of fresh basil. And I am going to get another piece. This one looks really good. Like, you see, this one looks really good, so I'm gonna get that one. Now let's go see what's going on. As you guys can see, the heat is really killing my marigolds. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna harvest a lot of these marigolds that are drying out, and I'm gonna take them, I'm gonna put them in my dehydrator. I'm gonna dehydrate the marigolds, and then I'm going to infuse them in almond oil and make some massage oils or some facial creams. I'm gonna test out this, as I always do, on myself and see what type of benefits I can get from using this, because I know marigolds, just like calendula and chamomile, are very good for your skin. So If you like flowers and you don't want to do the whole vegetable thing, you can actually plant a flower garden and plant medicinal flowers and herbs and have your own like skincare garden, which is really cool. This has died down. These are the potatoes. They're so close to being ready to dump out. I cannot wait. And then the cucumber. And look at this. It's another massive one. Like literally, it's massive. This one looks like it's bigger than the last one. And if you look down there, you can see a real baby one. I'm gonna cut this one off. And they have spikes on it, so you can try to wear like gloves, but this is the cucumber that I got just now. And if you guys look real close, there's a little baby cucumber right here. I'm trying to show y'all through this cage. But you see it's a little baby cucumber. It's not ready though, I'm gonna leave it. And I still got my other cucumber, so I'm gonna do a video on showing you guys what I'm gonna do with that. I was waiting for that one to finish up. And my squash has died down a lot because of the heat. I feel like I'm gonna probably try to plant another squash plant. I'm just not sure. But you can see my squash look kind of dry. So I don't know. I'm just gonna leave them in there. I watered them, gave them some fertilizer, and see what happens. Finally, homestead tomatoes. Finally, we have something. You guys can see I have some tomatoes, so I'm gonna go ahead and pick these. And you really don't need to cut the tomatoes. They should twist right off. See? Get this one. And if they're a little bit like not ripe all the way, like this one, just leave them on the counter, or you can put them in a box with an apple. Wrap them up in some newspaper, put them in a box. Put an apple in there, which will speed up the time that it takes for them to turn red. Or if you don't have an apple, just put them in there. And you guys see this? This is, you see those things flying around? I don't know if you can see it, but I hit my plants. That's whitefly. So I'm gonna have to do something about whitefly because I have them bad. Like I have whitefly bad in this yard. So I'm gonna have to do something about that. And I'm just going to gather some more greens. And I like to give them a good shake. And these are like a lot of whitefly, so I'm not going to harvest these. There's some whitefly eggs on here. So I'm gonna have to treat the whole garden to get rid of the whitefly. Now, if you have whitefly, it's not necessarily, doesn't mean that you can't eat it, but you really want to treat the garden and you want to clean your vegetables very, very well. And look, my spearmint has went to seed. They went to flower, so I'm going to cut some of the spearmint down too. So I'm just going to snip this flowers off to try to slow the plant down. And I plan on using these in my bath products, so I'm not really worried about the taste because they still have the skin benefits. Now, and if you were going to use this for tea, then you might have just, your spearmint may taste funny. So like I said, look out for the flowers. And then this is empty. I finally pulled out the sugar snap peas, and I have some yellow wax beans, and I have more sugar snap peas. So I think I might just plant the sugar snap peas in there and then try the wax beans in that little long one just to see what happens. But as you can see, my beefsteak tomato is like popping right now, so I'm about to get these. And you can see this is what happens when you water when your plants go dry, and then you water them, and then they go dry, and then you water them, they crack. Cracking doesn't necessarily mean that they're bad, but when they crack, I can't get this off. When they crack like this, that means that it was not retaining water right. Like the way that I was watering it, but I skipped too many days. And if you don't water these on a regular basis, the fruit will dry out. And then when you water them, the fruit will fill with water and it will make it crack. But if you can look real close, you can see that they actually heal themselves. So it forms a scab. which protects the fruit. But if you feel comfortable, if you feel scared of that, you could just cut the scabbed part off. And I have some with some damage, but like this one, for instance, it cracked. And these weren't like this a few days ago. I watered them and then they cracked really bad. Mosquitoes are eating me alive right now. So this is what happens to your fruit when you do not consistently keep them at a certain water schedule. You can see this one's really bad. It cracked. A lot of these crack. Whoop. I just made my little planter fall, but it's okay. It was just dirt in it, so it's okay. Let me just save my I just want to save my little glass thing to see if that broke, which it didn't, so that's all that matters. Okay, guys, I'll clean that mess up when I'm done doing this video. It's really not sturdy, this one plant stand that I got. I knock it over all the time. This is a nice big one, which without that much crack and damage. So let's see. See, this one cracked a little bit, but it's okay. This is a big one. Ooh. A little bit of cracking. If you guys are wondering, am I going to remember which ones are which? I will, because I can tell. The beefsteak ones are always going to be the bigger ones, and they're the ones that super crack. These lighter ones are the ones that came off. Let me just put them in an order for you guys. So I got the beefsteaks over here, the homesteads over here. We got more beefsteaks to get. They cracked really bad, guys. So I would not advise, if they crack like this, I would not advise to try to store these in a refrigerator. Do something with them fast, because you don't want, they're subject to rotting, as well as like mold, and if you leave them on the plant, they're subject to be attacked by insects. So get this one off. You can see cracked too. But if you look real close, it heals itself. So the fruit is not actually exposed. And you just want to cut away those cracked parts. And I know why this happened, because I did not water it for a few days, so that's what happened. So this one's starting to crack. I'm just going to pull it and let this ripen the rest of the way in the house. And there's one down here. You guys can see. I'm just going to take that off now. And then look at these. Now, look how many I got. And these are the patio hybrid. These are determinate, so they only get to a determined size, and you only get a determined amount of tomatoes, and then it's done. So let me get my basket over here. I'm going to put the cucumber to block this so I can see, you know, what tomatoes belong to who. And then I can block the other tomatoes with the basil. So let's get the picking. And I love these. I've never tasted the other ones because this is the first year, but these taste so good. These are really good. And believe it or not, these are, the last couple of years I was not able to grow these this big. They really looked like cherry tomatoes. And now I'm like, this year, like, what in the world? But you guys can see, and look how easy they're coming off. And these are not cracked. But I think it's because by it being a hybrid and a smaller variety, the plant is not using as much water as the other one. Like this one has a little bit of cracking, but it's okay. And it smells so good. Like this is a lot. At first I was like, I'm not gonna need this basket, but boy was I'm glad that I cleared this basket out, because I needed this basket. Like, this is a lot. Guys, this is a lot. Like, this is way more tomatoes. And if you guys look at my past video, I was complaining, like, there's not enough tomatoes. And they're not turning red. And boy, as soon as I said something. And I like that I have different sizes, different varieties. I always say if you're just gardening, play around with varieties. The really small ones, sometimes I like to just eat them with salt, pepper, and some olive oil and a little bit of balsamic vinegar. It's good. This one is like rotten. If you guys can see, this one's like going mushy. So I'm gonna trash that one. Oh, we got one on the ground. Get that out. Oh. Guys, this is work. Gardening is actually exercise. I'm in a health class right now and in college, and they said that this counts as moderate exercise. So some of these are soft too. I don't really know, but if you guys see that, it's a little bit soft. But I think I'm going to keep this one because it's just that one piece, and I could cut that away. But anything that looks like almost done, I'm just going to pull it because I don't want to risk letting them rot. Like, look at this one. You see how it started to rot on the top? Now, you can still probably eat this bottom, but I'm going to put that to the side. My cat being nosy. And this one is just like, literally, look how soft this is. It's just like, really, like rotten, I think. I think it was ripe for too long and it started to go bad. This one's a little bit messed up. The ones that's a little bit messed up, I'll probably just cut the tops off and make a salad or something. I might switch up what I was going to make for dinner. Like this one's really, really squishy, see? So far, guys, I've only lost 4. 4 of them are squishy. Perfect. And I'm gonna pull some of these yellow ones off as well, because when you see the shoulders of it turn, then it'll turn in the house. And I think that's it. That's all of them. So I'm gonna drag my little basket down here because it's heavy now. And guys, I wanted to show you that I need to build a trellis, because if you guys can see, it's trailing onto the ground. And it actually started to root into the ground, if you can see that. So that's a problem. But when you look at this, you can see how long this vine is that's trailing out of my box. This is winter squash, and I wish I didn't do that because they rooted on the ground. I don't know if that's good, bad, or indifferent. I'm not sure. I wasn't expecting them to root to the ground. So I need to do something immediately, like within the next couple of days before it re-roots. And over here is a cucumber, and I'm not sure what kind this is, but I want to say it may be the slicing kind, so I'm going to get that too. Let me get my scissors, guys. So walk back over here with me. My cat is confused and don't know what's going on. I did not even see this. Watch your cucumbers. They grow fast. You guys can see. And if you look real close, like I said, look at all those little dots. You see those spikes on there? It's sharp. Okay. We have peppers. Let's get these off. Shoot. I'm trying not to let these fall on the ground, but oh well. Right. Got these. I'm just going to cut all of them off because I don't need them to be massive like the last ones. I'm not going to stuff these ones with the crab meat. I'll probably stuff these with the ground beef and the mozzarella. And this one has a little brown spot. I'm going to check that out when I get in the house. And I think some fell on the ground. As you can see, they're not as big as the last ones. because I picked them early. If I would have left them on for like another 3 to 5 days, they would be huge. Wait till I show him all of this crap. When I show my boyfriend this, he's gonna be like, oh my God, like, because he's like, you done spent like $800 on a garden and I don't see nothing. He was like, I see a few things come in the house, that's it. Wait. I told him, wait till I get the peak of the season. Now I'm gonna get these jalapenos off. They're starting to split. Well, starting to crack because I did not water these for 3 days. I'm just going to take all of them, I think. No, I'll just leave the 2 little baby ones on there. I like to leave it something, you know. I don't know why, but I like to leave at least one on there. And I don't know what's up with the squash. There was a winter squash on here, and I don't know what happened to it. A bird probably stole it. I don't know. But birds, they steal certain stuff, but usually they just eat the strawberries, and I don't care because half the time my strawberries end up going bad because they don't last long if you leave them on the bush. So I got, I'm gonna go to this side, and you can see the cayens are turning red. This one is part green, part red, and you can see I didn't water this good either. I was like not. I was going out, hanging out. I'm not even gonna lie. So this is what happens when you miss a few days. Like a few days, it's a big thing. I'm just gonna cut these ones off. Shoot. I need to call my sister and see how hers are doing. Because she said it's taking over her porch right now. So I hope you guys can see. Because I'm just like trying to cut this stuff. And I like to leave like one on, like I said. Because you leave one on, it forces it to produce more. And don't ever cut the top of your plant either because it needs that for photosynthesis. So always cut from the bottom. So, and show you guys these. You can see they're dyed down now. They're almost ready like the potatoes are. But if you look down in here, look how big these are. I want to plant more, but I don't think I have time because these took like 2.5 to almost 3 months. And I did this from the starter kit. I didn't use seeds. Seeds going to take a really long time. And my other marigold, it just started growing and then I didn't water it. So it's dying, but it's resilient. I give it about, by tomorrow, everything should look alive again. These mosquitoes are attacking me. So that's what we have. And you see how I said the squash looks like? I don't know what's going on. If one of y'all know what's going on, comment and leave it in the comments, because I think that it's just dried out because it doesn't look like it's like the end of it is not brown. So I know that it got pollinated. So I'm not sure what's going on with that. I'm just gonna leave the strawberries on there because they're like dried out a little bit. I'm gonna let the birds eat it. And then I got to do something about the white fly. So I'll probably go to Home Depot tomorrow and pick something up or mix something up. I think it's supposed to be like cinnamon, essential oil, some neem oil, some dish soap, and a little bit of water. I think that's what I'm going to spray on them because the white fly is off the chain. Like, seriously. Like, if I kick this, they so tiny, I don't think y'all can see it. But if you see all that stuff flying around, like the little white specks, that's white fly, and they're all over my greens. So I don't know what I'm gonna do about them yet, but I have to do something because they're going to destroy my my greens. So make sure you like, you share, you subscribe. And this is our harvest, guys. Look at that. Like, I was not expecting to have this much. And technically, if I would have picked all the greens, I would have needed a whole nother basket because it's like I got a whole bunch of greens. And that box, that's my favorite box. It's so pretty. It's just like it's trailing out. You see the flowers, you see the peppers. But look at all of these, guys. And this literally came from, the majority of the stuff that I brought was from seed. I planted all of this stuff in March. And this is like the third harvest, I think. But this is the biggest one yet. So you got the banana peppers, we got the cucumbers, we got 3 different types of tomatoes, we got 2 different greens. I have some of the basil. So what I'm going to do is probably go in the house, wash all this stuff out, and I will make another video with everything laid out. And make sure you like, you share, and you subscribe. And I'll be back with another video to show you guys what I'm going to do with this. I'll probably can some, dry some, and maybe make some sauce. I'm not sure. So just stay tuned and I'll try to have that video as soon as possible.